What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to give you my first impression on the newest Ragnarok game in the market, and that game is Ragnarok V Returns. It's no longer a surprise that we have a new Ragnarok mobile game again, as this IP is very popular especially in the Asian region. If I remember it correctly, it was just a month or two ago when a different Ragnarok mobile game was also released, named ROMC. So to have another one a few days ago really makes me feel that the Ragnarok IP is becoming overused, especially since the main core of all of these games are the microtransactions. But nonetheless, I will still check this game out and see what the hype is all about. By the way, this is my first time playing this game, and I know that there was a beta testing that was conducted a year ago. However, I never really tried and tested the game out, so this will be my first time reaction to the game, and hopefully, it doesn't disappoint. Right off the bat, once you start the game, you will be given 4 choices to log in. You can either use your Facebook, Gmail, Apple, or a guest account. The thing that I noticed immediately was the music playing in the background. I think this is one of the original BGM of the classic game. However, I will not be able to play this in this video due to copyright purposes. So I only selected the guest account to log into the game. From there, you will see that there are only 2 servers currently available, the Frontera and Lunatic servers. Of course, based on my experience playing different Ragnarok games, the server list will expand more the longer the game is out, so we might see more servers in the following months. Upon logging in, I already noticed that it has a great art and graphic design. In this phase of the game, which is the character creation, I think it has a good amount of options when it comes to creating your own facial and hair designs. It also gives you a free headgear in your first few minutes of the game, which is something that I really like. Now, when it comes to the graphics and the art style of the game, it is very good and is on par or somewhat better than its contemporaries on the market. Oh, okay. I didn't expect that. So we already have an in-game ad promoting the microtransaction of the game. This is a common thing though in most MMOs out there in the market. But anyway, going back to the graphical fidelity of the game, the textures, lighting of the environment, and the details of the other players around me are really good. I also like that you can toggle your view from a very close-up shot to a lesser zoomed angle, and of course, the common camera angle for MMO games. Moving on to the performance of the game, to be honest, I'm really surprised at how well this game is running, especially since I didn't turn down or lower down any of my graphical settings. At the same time, even though there are a lot of NPCs and players in Frontera, I never really encountered a severe drop in frames, as well as any lags that you typically encounter in high volume areas. Even when I was out in the wild, farming monsters, I never encountered any lag or frame drops even though there are so many players on my screen, together with the pets and mercenaries. This is something that is big for me because a lot of developers or publishers nowadays releases a game that is unoptimized or is not even ready for release. That is really frustrating because half-baked games are typically swarmed by performance issues. But for the entire playthrough that I did for this game, I never really had any performance problems at all. When it comes to the UI or the user interface of the game, this is where I think they can do a lot better than what they have in the game. Although the UI is very common, especially in other Ragnarok games, where you have the skills, chat, quest windows, and icons that will lead you to other features of the game, I think the colors that they've used for the quest title and description is too much. If you watch my other review videos, you know that I like a minimalist or a simplistic design. And my main problem with the font color in this game is that it has too many variations. You have a blue, yellow, green, and red quest, which in my opinion stands out too much on your screen. But anyway, maybe it's just me, and I prefer a more simple UI for the games that I play. For the gameplay and progression systems, these are very similar to the other Ragnarok games. From allocating stat and skill points every time your base and job levels up, to auto-grinding in the wild using the auto function or battle in the game, to using your vigor, or in other games the stamina, to do life skills like fishing, mining, logging and gathering of materials in the wild, or entering dungeons or instances to get equipment blueprints that you can later on craft or sell to other players. Speaking of selling to other players, this is where this game stands out, because you have the option to buy and sell items to other players by opening up a stall in Frontera. These are the yellow bars that you can see here in this clip. Typically in other Ragnarok games, all the transactions done in-game will go through an exchange center, and players cannot really control who buys or sells the items in the game. But for Ragnarok V, you can do it directly with other players. Although there is still the RO shop, which acts similar to the exchange center, the direct transaction is something that is really unique to this game. And of course, since we are already in the topic of buying and selling, I would like to inform you that there are multiple currencies in this game. From the premium currency, which is the ruby, the diamond currency, which you can get from selling items and from the adventurer log, and the zenny currency, which you can get from missions or quests. Of course, if you are already a seasoned player in MMOs, you already know that the premium currency can only be obtained from microtransactions. But before we talk about the microtransactions in the game, I would like to talk about a feature that I'm not really sure if it is good for the game or not. And this is the Mercenary feature. This is not really new in other Ragnarok games, but in this game, the Mercenary can be leveled up, it can obtain skill points, and you can engrave runes to make them even stronger. Which is quite weird because I think this will lessen the co-op gameplay. If a player has a high tier Mercenary, completely leveled up and equipped with the high tier runes, I think that will be very overpowered. When it comes to the pet system in this game, this is also quite unique because your pet can also be your mount. Moving on to the most awaited question for most players, is the game pay to win? The answer to that is yes. I mean, from the first ad that we saw earlier to the different currencies in the game, those are already indicative of a pay-to-win heavy game. From the multiple microtransaction windows to the different gacha systems, it is pretty obvious that you can gain a lot of advantages if you are using your real money in the game. The part that turned me off is the stats that you can get from the high-tier costumes in the gacha system. Of course, this will further widen the gap between the F2P and the pay-to-win, because the only way to draw these costumes is through the premium currency. You can also get high-tier pets and mercenaries that will surely give you a huge advantage in the game. But anyway, this is basically the new norm for most MMO games in the market. A free-to-download game which has a lot of microtransactions to provide the players with a faster progression in-game. Overall, if we look at how the game looks and how it runs, it is quite good. But if we dig deeper to the core of the game, you will quickly find out that this is a heavily pay-to-win game. I think the best way to know if this game is for you is to try it out for yourself, especially since this game is a free-to-download game. Let me know your thoughts about Ragnarok V Returns in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more game reviews, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. GG!
You're a superhero.